So as I said, good morning. I'm Lenore Smith, a training and development specialist here at ISAC, and I have one of my coworkers, Olivia Sanchez, with me today, and she's going to be following along with us in case we have any technical difficulties. Hopefully we will not have those this morning. It's a nice sunshiny day here in Central Illinois, and so on behalf of ISAC, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome you to today's Parchment preview. We're going to spend just a little bit of time sharing about the ISAC Transcript Exchange with you today. We're going to hear from a couple of our great school partners that we have. They're going to tell you a little bit about their services. We're also going to be hearing from Ben Silva. He's our Illinois representative that works at Parchment, and he keeps track of everything going on for us at Parchment and working with our accounts there. So it's not a new program. Some people ask me, how long has this been going on? How long has ISAC actually worked with Parchment? And we're proud to say it's been going on for quite a while now. Our partnership started back in 2011, so not new at all. It's been a great success. It's been proven we have over 460 schools now utilizing the Transcript Exchange, and we've sent thousands of transcripts through Parchment, and basically students have the abilities that send their transcripts electronically, not just here in Illinois or not just in the United States, but they can send those transcripts worldwide. And they really are sent in a secured situation. I know I get that question a lot. I'm sure Ben can address that and will later, but it's always like, what's better, to send transcripts through Parchment or to email them? We're always hearing about things like that, and we're proud that we have this partnership with Parchment that allows our transcripts to be sent in a safe and secure manner for our students here in Illinois. We are able to provide this service to all Illinois public and private high schools across the state, so everyone is welcome to participate. And it's our hope that you will give us some questions during the webinar here so that we can answer any questions that you have. The nice thing that we have found about working with Parchment is that the service is not just for your current students. You're going to hear Ben talk about that a little later on, but you can also use it for alumni services as well as third-party request and verification. So there's a lot of reporting, just a lot that we have access to. And again, it's free and no cost to your school districts or high schools. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on our counselor friends here today. So with us here today, we have Karen Chris she's the counselor at Litchfield High School, and with her there in the background, you'll see the guidance secretary, Brittany Ronco. They've agreed to join us today, and I have turned on your mic, ladies. So they're going to walk through just what their experience has been. They've been with us now for a number of years, and I have some questions that I asked them, so I'm going to leave those up there and just turn this over to them and let them have an opportunity to tell you about their experience.
Well, I think the best way that it helps us is we're able to send our transcripts electronically without having to mail them in the mail. Colleges can download them immediately, and we have proof that the colleges have downloaded them. And we always have those students that come into our office and say, that such and such college hasn't received my transcript yet, and we can look back and say, okay, well, we sent it on this date. Can you have them check Parchment or that they have received it? So I mean, that's probably the best benefit to our school district, and it's very simple and easy, much simpler than having to send it through the mail.
Another thing is I mean, kids don't log into Parchment to do it. I just go to the order. There's an order area and search the kid's name and order it myself and just send it myself when they come in and ask me to send a transcript for them on their behalf. So instead of having the student do it. So I like that as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the nice things, that there's just so many ways that schools can set it up. You know, typically students would set up their own account, but you do have the flexibility to control all those things from the school side. So that is always putting the school in control. How do you guys feel about the training process? I know I get that question a lot, and you know, just from your perspective, how do you feel that setting everything up? I know it's been a while now, but just keeping up with things that are going on and changes that are occurring. How do you feel that works for you guys?
I mean, it was simple. It was super easy because all you have to do is, I think there's a tab and it invites your students. I mean, we have Skyward, so we data mined. I imported the information into Parchment, and then I then sent emails to the kids to accept and make their Parchment account. So, I mean, it's super easy. You just have to make sure you have the correct information and your data mine, or however you transport or export stuff over to Parchment.
I was trying to think if there's any other questions that I can pop up with to see what your thoughts are. Do you have any issues with parents coming to you and saying, you know, is there a way that I can check on my student's transcript? Does that
I think that,
happen?
I mean, we used to, for sure. They, you know, the colleges always send out those little cards that say what they're missing, and things get crossed in the mail when you're mailing a transcript. And so the college would take a long time to download those transcripts and upload them into their system and update the file and all of those things. And I was constantly trying to reassure students, it will happen. We've sent it. But this is simple for us to just say, show them the screen and say, hey, we have proof that we sent it on this date. Your college will update it. End of conversation. Much more simple on that end.
And I know Ben and I were chatting a little bit before we started the meeting about the final transcript season coming up. Do you feel like having Parchment has impacted your ability to get through that process in less time, or?
I mean, it takes time because I have to order it for all the kids because I do it. I don't have the students do it, but I mean, it's definitely better than printing and mailing and doing labels. You know what I mean? So.
And for alumni, do you use the service for alumni, your student requests
Yes.
as well?
Yes, we do. For alumni, we use for third parties. I know we have a company here in town that always does graduation verification, so I'll answer to those as well. The only downfall that I wish something could be added to Parchment, when I get transcripts from students that are doing, like, we have scholarships here, so I'll get an email saying I received a scholarship, like their transcript from their college, and I'll get an email saying I can download it. Does that make sense? But I don't get that when people request something in the Parchment area, like third party. Like, you know, if I ordered my transcript, or a third party is asking for graduation verification, I'm not getting an email saying that. I get that like a couple days later, but because it's sitting in there. But like when I get the transcripts from a certain person, I get an email saying, hey, download it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I wish we could get an email saying when people ordered stuff on Parchment, like every day or as it comes in. But that's the only downfall. Otherwise, I have to check it, and I sometimes forget to do that.
Yeah, it's I know when we first started, like I said, back in 2011, we had schools that would say, can you turn off those emails? Because every time a student would request one, you know, the notification would go, and we all get tons of emails, right?
Yeah.
And then when Parchment made changes years ago, and now you just, as Ben's going to show us, we just go into the administrator account and he'll walk us through what that looks like here in just a little bit. But then when that went away, then we had schools that said, hey, I want those emails back. So I think with any technology, I find there's good and bad, but I think overall, and what I'm hearing you guys agree is that the service has really saved you a lot in time, even though Brittany takes that on herself there. The schools made the decision that you guys are going to do the ordering for the students. That's still a process that you feel has still benefited the school overall, and definitely benefits the students because you can get through those a lot faster, and they get to the institutions a lot quicker. I know I promised you I wouldn't take very much of your time, and I really don't want to do that because I know you guys are both busy and there's all kinds of testing that's been going on throughout this last few weeks as we've talked about that. Is there any final comments that you'd like the group that's joined us here today to hear how your students have been affected by the use of Parchment?
I mean, I just like how I can prove to them that I have sent it. I mean, I am human, I do forget, but I think I'm pretty good at sending stuff. So you can't track the mail. You can at least track this electronically and prove that I have sent it. And you know, you need to call back to your college and make sure to have them check Parchment. So I'm not getting as many questions as I was 10 years ago when I started. Have you mailed that? You know, yes, I have, but you know, they haven't uploaded it. So I don't get those questions as much as I used to when I started. So definitely feel like it's a big perk. So.
Well, we thank you for using this service, and we're very happy at ISAC that we can provide this service to you. Is there any questions for anybody that's with us here today? If you have those questions that you'd like to ask our group here from Litchfield High School, you could put those in the chat right now. I know they're going to have to jump off here real quick. I'm not seeing anything come in the chat yet, but give it just a second and we'll go ahead and we can get back if there's any questions that you think of later and you put them in the chat and you'd like for either anyone, you know, to really get back, like from Litchfield, I can get those to them. I'm sure Karen and Brittany will reach out to you directly as well. So we thank you for your time today, Karen and Brittany, and we'll let you go ahead and get back to your students because I've seen some people back through the window there. So
Yep.
I'm sure you've got people waiting on you. So we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Ben Silva. He is the Customer Success Manager with Parchment. And as I said earlier, he does work with all our Illinois accounts. And he is now in that presenter's role. So I'm going to let him take it away and tell you all the great stuff and show you some things that might excite you if you're thinking about joining us.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Definitely appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to join us for the Parchment preview today. My name is Ben Silva, and I am the Customer Success Manager for the state of Illinois, and I am located in Denver, Colorado. And so my main goal as the Customer Success Manager is to monitor progress and adoption and satisfaction with proactive engagements, and then addressing ongoing professional developments and service needs. And then I'm also your internal advocate for navigating the Parchment ecosystem. And I also partner with our regional sales manager to help expand that reach. So something that wasn't discussed earlier, but we can explore additional services that Parchment offers, like diploma services. So we offer paper and digital diplomas. We also offer records digitization, where we can take your older legacy records that are maybe locked away in your file cabinets, or maybe they're stored in your basement dungeon, and then we would upload those records into your Parchment account. So these additional services are not covered by the ISAC Exchange, but if you are interested in having those discussions, I can definitely point you in the right direction. So I am the main point of contact for each high school in the state. So each high school has me as their dedicated customer success manager And then I also work with Lenore and Sam Nelson at the ISAC level. So to get started today, let's take a look at the agenda. So first, we'll go over a quick overview of Parchment's mission. So who we are and what we're all about. And then we'll make sure to get into the meat of today's presentation, which is going to be a demo. So we'll see two things today. First, what does the student experience look like when they're actually go through and order a transcript to be sent to a particular destination? And then number two, what do you all see as admins when you log in? So whether you're a counselor, registrar, or anyone who is responsible for records requests, what do you see and how do you take care of those students' requests? And then we'll definitely do our best to save some time at the end of today's session for a Q&A. But if your questions are not answered today, you can always send myself or Lenore your questions, and we'll make sure to get those answered for you. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and talk about who Parchment is. And whenever I give the background on Parchment as an organization, I always like to start with the mission because it's so important. And our mission is to turn credentials into opportunities. And that mission is our very foundation that we build every single product and service on here at Parchment. We're very much a student-focused organization, and we are a student-focused organization because we recognize that students aren't just students. They are people, and they're people that are going to be progressed throughout their life, either academically or professionally, or probably both. And as they are making their way through their particular pathway, we know that there are different steps that they have to take, and each step along the way, they may have to call upon those credentials they've earned up to that point to be able to achieve and get that next opportunity right in front of them. And so Parchment wants to play that small but very important role of being the service that a student can rely on, to have all of their credentials in one location in their learner profile that is associated with their Parchment account, so that whenever they need them to send to any destination, they're going to be there ready to go. So that when Parchment, that's what Parchment's all about, just to empower your students and to turn those credentials into opportunities. And so, how do we do that then? That's our mission, great, but what is a little bit more concrete behind that? And so with Parchment, we know that folks like yourself are responsible for much more than within your role, underneath those roles, your titles and responsibilities. And so we want to make the records management process for folks like yourself as simple as possible. And so, should you choose Parchment, you're choosing a single platform that you can have all of your credential requests, current, alumni, third parties, all in one centralized location. So maybe today you have, you handle requests like current students walking into your office, maybe filling out a Google form on your website, calling you, sending you an email. And then maybe your alumni, are doing the same thing. Third parties calling you, emailing you, faxing you. But with Parchment, we consolidate and centralize all of those channels into one so that every request comes in via Parchment and every request goes out via Parchment. So you're only monitoring one channel for all of those records requests. And then in addition to that, because a Parchment account can grow with your students, it's not just limited to those that are currently enrolled. So if you select with Parchment, you're selecting the best available records and credential management service for your current students today and for when they become alumni tomorrow. So it's something that they will continue to have access to and to be able to call upon those records at any time. And then all of that leads up to saving time for yourself. The simplicity is going to increase your operational efficiencies for handling records requests and give you time back in the day. So in addition to what I've said, you're also going to get access to Parchment's very robust network of destinations. So over a little bit of 95% of colleges and universities across the country are Parchment members. So meaning they've signed agreements with us, they have specific Parchment inboxes where they collect transcripts and other credentials. And with that, we're not just limited to colleges. So we have scholarship organizations you can send directly to the military or the NCAA. Different third-party organizations are Parchment members, like background check companies or employers. And then one thing I like to point out here is just because you have students that may be on the college path, right? Sending to colleges, universities, but what about the other population of students that may not be on the college path? So Parchment can support all those pathways. So you can select the destination for your transcript as a specific email address. So maybe you have a student applying to a college that maybe is a little bit smaller, maybe not part of Parchment's network. They can send that transcript directly to the admissions counselors that they are working with, and they can send it securely and instantly via Parchment. And then same thing goes for students that need to send their transcripts directly to an employer because they're entering the workforce after graduation. So we just want to make sure that you understand in selecting Parchment, you can support all of your students and all the pathways as well. So hammering down into the specifics of what you actually get out of the ISAC Transcript Exchange, number one is this is truly a free service for you and your students. So your current students will not be charged when they go through and request their electronic transcript to be sent. So it's truly an all-you-can-eat model, so they can request their transcript to be sent to 10 different destinations and never see a fee. And then additionally, you or your school are not going to get an invoice for this service. So ISAC is 100% covering the cost for you, which also includes training and implementation as well. Now, if a student or an alumni want to send a hard copy of their transcript to a particular destination, maybe there's again a smaller local scholarship opportunity that they're interested in, and for whatever reason those folks want a hard copy, the students can choose to have their transcripts printed and mailed, and Parchment will be the ones to print and mail that for you for $2.75. And as we mentioned, your alumni have access to Parchment as well, but they do pay our standard transaction fee of $4.65 per request during the checkout process. And then one thing I do like to point out here is, as it is popular, both in the K-12 and the higher ed sectors, Parchment has an option for you to turn this into a revenue generating tool for your school. So each school has the ability to add surcharges to any particular requests, such as alumni requests, or most popular is the third-party requests. And we typically see a $10, $15, $20 surcharge on top of those standard transaction fees. We'll collect that surcharge on your behalf, remit it back to you on a monthly basis, and obviously you can use those that money you receive however you see fit. Maybe that's purchasing additional Parchment services such as records digitization or diplomas. We've seen schools start scholarship programs in their guidance office, or pay for something in the department. So it's completely up to you, but each school has the ability to generate revenue for their school. So if you do decide that you have additional questions or actually want to register with Parchment under the ISAC Transcript Exchange, you can contact me directly and I'll get you in touch with our regional sales manager to go over the agreement. And then what that looks like next is the agreement is sent over to you, signed, then we'll add you to our implementation queue. And then from there, our implementation team will work with you to create your account and help you get your transcripts uploaded. So with that, Lenore, are there any questions that we can answer before we jump into the live demo? And also, how are we doing on time?
We're doing great on time. It's only 10:25, so you're going to have a lot of time to show the folks everything you need to. And I'm not seeing any questions come up in the chat yet.
Okay. All right, so first I mentioned the first demo that we're going to jump into is the student ordering demo. But I would like to show this part first. So once you go through implementation, we're going to give you a cool fancy link that you'll post on your website so you can direct students, current students, alumni, parents, third parties to your high school. So for example, I'm using Belleville. I believe this is their district website. They have Belleville West, they have Belleville East. They have information on their transcript landing page about pricing for alumni and third parties, how to create your account. They have videos. This is a great website that I like to show to other Illinois schools that are just getting onboarded. So you'll post this link that each school has their, again, their own custom URL. If I click on this link, it'll take me to directly to the student ordering page. So I'll have to log in with my student email address. And on this first page here, once I get logged into my student account and I'm associated to, let's just say that this says Belleville East High School, I'm using a demo account here, I can see the available credentials that I can order as a currently enrolled student. So by default, most schools just make transcripts available to order, but we do have other supplemental documents that we can make orderable for your students, like counselor recommendation, teacher evaluation, health records, birth certificate. But by default, transcript. So I log in, I see that I can order a transcript. I'm going to go ahead and click order. The next step is the delivery destination. So where do I want to send my transcript? In this case, I'm applying to, let's say, Arizona State. Oh, this was doing this to me earlier today, and I apologize. I'm not sure why this demo account does this to me sometimes. Thankfully, we have enough time here to get logged in. I apologize. So let me re-log into my student account.
It's hard to get through technology without something going.
You know, I practiced right before we jumped on and it was working fine, and I've never seen that before, so I'm gonna have to get with our product team to ensure that our demo account for student ordering is working. So the real Parchment account, your students will not see that. Okay, so I'm getting logged into my student account. And I'm clicking order transcript. So the step again here is, where do I want to send my transcript? So I'm the typical pathway after high school graduation. I'm attending, I want to send my transcript to Arizona State. So I type in Arizona State and all of the options pop up here for any school with Arizona State in the title. So this one, I want to go to Arizona State University, Tempe, Arizona. I click that. The next step is my item details page. So think of this as kind of your, you choose an item in Amazon. This is your Amazon cart and you're checking out. So on this item details page, I can see that I'm requesting my transcript. My name is Bobby Hill. I'm requesting it from the high school that I attend, and I've chosen Arizona State University as the receiver of this request. On the right-hand side is going to be the item total. So again, it's completely free for your currently enrolled students to request their electronic transcript. So I'll see a $0 fee there. The next step here is, when do you want this sent? I can choose send now, or I can choose hold for grades. Let's say it's the end of the year. I want to wait for my transcript to be updated with my semester 2 grades. I'll click hold for grades, and that will be placed on your on hold tab as an admin. But in this case, I'm going to choose send now. Then we are FERPA compliant. We must provide a signature, and then we also must click I consent to this disclosure of the credential and provide attachments. So we're providing a signature stating that I am who I say I am. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And then this is the order summary. So just confirming my order from requesting the transcript from Demo High School to be sent to Arizona State University. I can go ahead and complete order to place this request, but I want to show you something else that in regards to sending to another destination besides a college or a university. So in this case, I can click add another item, and I'm going to click add another item from Bobby Hill. So it takes me back to the start. So again, I want to order my transcript. This next page here is setting the delivery destination. So you can see I can send to a college university, or I can send to myself or another individual. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And let's say I want to send this to another individual. The next page is setting the delivery destination. So I can choose electronic delivery. I can choose print and mailed. If I wanted this printed and mailed, I would have to type in the school name, business, person, and their mailing address. I also have the option to add rush delivery via FedEx. But in this case, let's go electronic delivery. Let's say, you know, I'm 17 years old. If I get all A's, my grandpa gives me an allowance for the summer. So let's type in my grandpa's name. I'll type in his email address. And I have to type in it again just to confirm. Did I misspell something here, Silva B? Let me retype this. Okay. Let me try one other thing here. Copy and paste always works best. I'll click continue. And again, item details page. I'm sending my, requesting my transcript from Demo High School to be sent to my grandfather, Ben Silva. I want to send this now. Item total 0. Everything looks good. I'll provide my consent signature. I'll click consent, and then I'll click continue. And then finally, the order summaries page. So I see my 2 orders here. One's being sent to Arizona State University. The other one's going to be sent to my grandfather. I'll go ahead and click complete order. And I have my order confirmation, just confirming, congratulations, you've requested your transcript successfully, and they are now pending at the high school you've requested from. So I want to show you tracking ability on the student side. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue to my student account. And I'm going to click on orders. And so on this orders page, it's going to show me every request that I've placed within my student account and the status of that transcript. So obviously I just placed these 2 requests, and you'll notice that the Demo High School 18 is glowing orange. That means that the transcript is at Demo High School pending, waiting to be processed. Also available here. Now there's some older requests that I have placed, and I can see that, oh, the recipient has my transcript. I can see the recipient has my transcript here. So this is one of 3 ways that there's tracking availability, there's transparency into where my transcript request is. There's one here, logging into your student account, and then also Parchment will email your students 3 separate times during the process. So once the process or the transcript, excuse me, is placed, Parchment will email the student saying, congratulations, your transcript request has been placed at Demo High School 18. Once Demo High School 18's registrar or counselor processes the request, we'll send another email to the student saying, hey, your transcript request has been processed. It's on its way to its destination. And then finally, when the destination confirms download of the transcript, they'll get their final request, final email. All right, so that is the student side. And I had this teed up differently, but it's not working that way. So let me log into the admin side of things.
Ben, we do have one question that has come up.
Okay.
The question is, can more than one transcript be uploaded for an individual student? For example, one with test scores and one without?
Yes, you can add an attachment, so you can upload the transcript, and then you do have the ability to add an attachment to that request. So you can choose test scores from the drop-down menu and then attach the test scores. So then both the transcript and the test scores would be sent to the destination. However, I think I just want to point out, I'm not sure if this is ACT or SAT, but only the ACT and SAT scores are official if they're sent from those destinations. They're technically unofficial if they are sent from the school. I'm not sure if those are the test scores we're talking about, but just wanted to inform you there. And are we doing good on time?
Yeah, it's 10:36.
Okay. All right, so as an admin, when you log into your Parchment account, the default landing page that you land on is your open orders. So all of your pending orders that need to be processed. So I have 5 open orders. I can see all of the students that have requested their credentials, and I'll work from left to right so I can show you here. So I can see that Bobby Hill requested his transcript. I'll see my high school name listed here, Demo High School 18. I'll have some identifiers like the student ID, the date of birth, the graduation year, and then we also have an added layer of security if you would like to enable that, the last 4 of their social security numbers. Not sure if you collect the last 4 of your social. If you do, we can enable this feature. And then we can also enable an ID upload. So they'd have to upload their ID. So we have those built-in features for you. And then in the middle, I can see what credential is being requested. So in this case, we have a transcript request. If we enable those other supplemental documents like teacher evaluation, counselor recommendation, birth certificate, graduation verification, those would all be listed here. I can see when it was ordered, so April 10th, 2025 at 8:32 a.m., and where I'm sending it to. So I'm sending it to a guy named Ben Silva, and then down here, I'm sending it to Arizona State University. Then we also have an order details icon right above that. And this is more information about the request. So again, who's ordered by. We have their contact information, phone number, email, address if that's student, if they provide that. I can also view the consent form that was signed by that student. If I click view file, it'll pull up another screen and I'll have a PDF of that signature. You can print and download that. And then also the order date. We timestamp that for you as well. And then in the middle of the page, again, what credentials being ordered, all of the learner's information, where we're sending it, the item total as well. And most importantly, on the right-hand side, you'll notice it says it's green and it says process order, and then we have this auto matched here. So during implementation, you will work with our implementation team to upload a roster of your students, so a list of your students. It can be all of your currently enrolled students. You can upload all of your alumni students. We'll get the roster uploaded, and then you'll batch upload your transcripts. So you'll download all of your transcripts. Let's just say, for example, your seniors transcripts from your student information system. You'll save it as one PDF. We'll upload it into your credential library. And then when those students come to request their transcripts are already in your Parchment account. And so we auto match them to that student. And this eliminates you having to go look for that student's transcript. It's already there. So when you log in, you see the request for Bobby Hill. You can just click process order. And that transcript's sent immediately, securely to the destination that the student has requested it to go to. So very quick and easy there. One last thing here on this screen, you'll notice that it says select file instead of being a green process order. What this means is that there is not a transcript that's in Parchment for this student. So maybe it's an older grad, maybe 1990, and those legacy records are stored in a file cabinet. So you get the request from Bobby Hill, who graduated in 1990. You go locate that transcript in your file cabinet. It's a piece of paper. You scan it. You save it as a PDF. I recommend creating a Parchment file folder, naming the student's name, So once that transcript's ready, I can go ahead and click select file, upload new file, and let's just say that that is a transcript. I gotta move my screen here, and I'll click attach file, and that transcript's there. It's associated to the student's request, and I'll click process order. And again, that's sent on to the destination that the student has requested it to go to. One last thing I just point out here real quick is the history tab. This is going to be your customer support tool. So again, let's say you have somebody coming in, a student, a parent, maybe a third party calling you saying, hey, we requested our transcript. Can you tell me where that's at? So you can type in the first name of the student, last name. There's a tracking ID number for every request that comes in that you can locate on the Open Orders tab. Or you can click the drop-down arrow. This will give you further information that you can search with. So you have date ranges, destination. So I can type in Arizona State. That'll show me all the requests that have been sent to Arizona or are pending. Grad level, credential type. So again, transcript, grad verification, and run search. And that'll show me the status of that request. So very important. And then you can also download and export those reports as well. So with that, all in there. Lenore, any questions that we can answer? Any additional questions?
I don't have any additional questions popping up here yet.
Okay.
I did want to talk about something here while we're waiting to see if anyone can think of any questions in the last couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take presenter rights away from you, Ben.
Okay.
But I know that Litchfield had talked about the fact that, you know, they do things a little, what I feel is a little differently there, where they actually control the students and who's, you know, placing that order. And Brittany takes on that role as the guidance secretary and does all of that for the students. But I don't know overall from Parchment's side, but I know from working with the schools here in Illinois that that's typically not how it's done. The typical way is that the student, the school works with the student upon implementation. They usually start with their senior class, and those students will go in and they will all set up their accounts, and then they will order their transcripts. And then that transfer comes in as you were explaining that into the administrator's dashboard, and they simply are, after the upload, or approving that. And I know that I have many schools that come back to me later and they say, oh, well, you know, especially larger schools, right, where there's hundreds of students and maybe there's, you know, minimal guidance staff. They're like, oh gosh, it's hard to keep track of that. And what I have schools tell me, and we've discussed, is that one easy way to do that with students setting up their own accounts is they just make that part of their school registration process. After they get their seniors enrolled, they might enroll their juniors, and then going forward the following year with Parchment, they just simply have everybody across the board in the high school setting up their accounts. And that just keeps it easy, makes the flow, because I know Parchment does provide some other counseling tools that are out there available for students to take advantage of as well. And we don't really talk much about that. But I still don't see any questions coming in. And I don't know what your thoughts are across the board, Ben, on what I've just stated, but is that typically how you see it as students are setting up their own accounts?
Yeah, majority of schools nationwide set up their own accounts. They can set up their own accounts with registration codes. So when you're during implementation, when you upload the roster for your current students, it automatically generates registration codes, and you can send an email that'll send an email blast to all of their students, all of your students. They can click on a link, it'll populate all of their information, and all they have to do is click register. And then from there, they request their own transcripts. We do from time to time see where counselors want to be more hands-on. Like Litchfield, they want to make those requests on behalf of the students. It's totally up to you on how you want to utilize the Parchment services, but again, majority of high schools and districts make their own students request their own credentials.
Thanks, Ben. That's one of the things, we're coming up on time now. That's one of the things I know in speaking with schools, they all say that they just enjoy the great flexibility that the service provides. So we don't want to keep you any longer, but if you have any questions, you can continue to put them in the chat. I know you can email Ben, and it's quick and easy to get started. We're happy to work with you on that process, and we thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone.